Hello, this is Pamela Topchian, and I am recording this on March 31st, and it is Transgender Day of Visibility. And I debated all day about doing a recording about this or not, but I think it's really important to get out there and sort of share a little bit of what I know, which is not a lot, but just to share the information that I do know, because it's so important, especially now more than ever. Well, not more than ever, but especially now, we're kind of moving back in time when it comes to awareness, acceptability, um, equality, and all of that. So I think it's important, and this is a good sort of opening, being that it's Trans Day of Visibility Day today. So thetrevorproject.org, and I'll put that link below, is a great place for information to educate yourself on what a person who is transgender is all about. It's also a great place to find statistics which will tell you that the youngest people who end up unaliving themselves, the youngest people, meaning children who feel that they don't have any hope, that they don't have any purpose, that they don't have anybody that is a safe space, those young people are unaliving themselves. Most of them, the highest rate of children doing that and feeling that way are transgender and non-binary. And that just hurts my heart so bad. And how could that not hurt you? Children. So one of the things about being transgender and or non-binary, usually these children know earlier than any of the other LGBTQ plus community. Now, the T is transgender, but a child will know that they don't feel they're being told that they're a little boy or a little girl. They're being introduced to those typical gendered toys and activities, and they just don't feel like that inside. And they know better. And if they bring it up, a lot of times it's either put down, they're criticized, or they realize that they are not being taken seriously. So little children will know, and there's so many great documentaries and movies explaining it as well. And one of them, and it's kind of old now, but it's called Real Boy. And I think I'll try to find a link for that, but I believe you can watch it free on Tubi, Tubi. It might be on Prime as well, Amazon Prime, but I'm not positive. But I will try to find a link before I put this up. And that explains really well how the person themselves feels and what they go through. And and it also gives the perspective of the parent. So I'm not denying that it can be hard for a parent to accept this, but if your child is already being bullied and not accepted by their peers or just by the world in general, don't you want to be a safe space, a loving space, an accepting space for your child? And so many will say, how do they know? How do they know? And it's more of they might not have the word. They might not know that transgender or non-binary is who they are. They just know that I'm not really this little boy or girl that everybody thinks I am. Or I would rather, I identify more with the girls or the boys, and they're telling me that I shouldn't. They're telling me that I need to do these things, or I need to dress this way, or I shouldn't act that way, or something. And so they already at very young age feel that they don't belong. So it just really is important to kind of educate yourself and know that transgender people have always existed and they always will. You cannot erase them from society. I mean, and why would you want to do that? It just doesn't, it doesn't make sense to me. And this is why I thought twice before doing this recording, because I didn't want to babble and ramble and I didn't want to get too emotionally charged by it. But I wanted to give some information so that you can educate yourself. And so the LGBTQ plus community, one of the ways that transgender, non-binary people are different than the LGB part of that community is it has nothing to do with sexual preference or, who you're attracted to, who you're romantically drawn to. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with how they feel is right and true in their own soul. And you can't, how can you tell somebody else how they're supposed to feel inside? And a lot of people, so really, two genders is really so outdated. The X and Y, the chromosome thing, is really outdated that it's just two because there are many variations. So if you do this DNA makeup of a lot of transgender and non-binary people, you will find that there are variations. It's not just this person was born a boy because he's got the stuff that looks like a boy or a girl, whatever it is, right? They might look a certain way when they're born. However, if you took the DNA and you looked at their chromosomes, you would see that, oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it is a little more fluid, maybe it is a little more of a mixed chromosomal makeup. So the lesbian, gay, bisexual, LGB, right? That has everything to do with who you're attracted to. And, again, if somebody is making a choice, I ask you, when did you choose? If you are assuming you're heterosexual, cisgendered, when did you choose to be that? When did you make that decision that you are going to be attracted to the opposite sex? If this is a hard subject for you, if you struggle with this, please just educate yourself. thetrevorproject.org, and that'll be below. I'm going to try to find some other good websites as well. And oh, so another thing I wanted to say real quick. I was saying how they've always existed and they always will, and nobody should have to hide who they are. But if you think that you don't know anybody, whether it's in your workplace, in your family, maybe even in your friend group, your neighbors, if you think that you don't know anybody who is part of the LGBTQ community, then you are not a safe space for them to show who they truly are in front of you. So think about that. Think about that. Don't you want to be a safe space? Don't you want to be a person that is compassionate, understanding, or at least trying to be understanding, or at the very least to not do any harm, right? So I don't want to ramble. I don't want to get too emotionally charged. I just wanted to say to any and all of my transgender friends, neighbors, family members who are part of the LGBTQ community, happy Trans Visibility Day, and Pride Month will be coming up in June, and I'll talk about that, and I'll be a little more prepared, but we'll talk about that as well. So if you have any questions, anything to add, keep it kind. If you don't have anything nice to say, you know, then don't say it at all, right? But I don't mind any questions. So my good friend Lona is a transgender man, and we used to do a podcast together. It's on YouTube and it's up on all the podcast platforms. Transgender Mentor. So obviously we're not doing them anymore. And it's been quite a while since we've done them, but it's very informative. And that was the reason we were doing them. It's to inform people. And so those are all still up if you look for Transgender Mentor. So that might be a good place for you to start as well. So thanks for listening. I hope that this has reached you. I hope that you have a better understanding or at least an awareness. And the whole idea of Visibility Day is for awareness because it's so important. So thank you for being here. If you like any of the videos on here, please subscribe and we'll talk later. Thanks.